Hey y'all, welcome to Big Joe Recovery. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning, or early afternoon I should say. And I am here with a new association and friend, and I would like to introduce you in a moment, but I want to tell you a little bit about Big Joe Recovery.
Yes.
We're here in Rocky Hill at it's ferry launch. I don't know the name of it, but it's a beautiful ferry launch. There are boats going on in the back bringing cars. But Big Joe Recovery is about finding the big picture about you, you know?
Yeah.
It goes deeper.
No, it's beautiful.
I started this one day and I was just like, you know what can I do to help people more in recovery? You know, I just started becoming a recovery coach, which I didn't know was going to happen in my life. And C-Car helped me find that way. Shout out to C-Car, love y'all. And so finding you and creating your journey, because that's what I keep doing on a daily, because it's a daily maintenance thing for me. And I think for everybody who's overcoming or looking to overcome addiction, anything in your life that may be unmanageable, addictive personality. So finding the real you, because I know I wasn't myself for a long time. And I know we were briefly talking before, and I think we're going to pick up where we left off so everybody kind of see what we're talking about. But please introduce yourself. Say something, a great characteristic about you.
Sure.
And the floor is yours.
Right. I'm Ashley Chevrette, and I have a small amount of clean time, but it matters to me. I got 7 months.
Anytime is good time.
Right.
That's
Even
right,
if it's just a
7 months.
minute, it's 1 minute at a time. I would say a great characteristic about me, I am very proud of the fact that I am communicative. Really, I have to, because I was just telling Joe, like, I had to learn at an early age how to voice for myself around adults who, not that they didn't care about me, but I was a little bit invisible, right? I grew up in DCF foster care, so moving from home to home, and as a child, you have no rights or really say in the matter. You just kind of got to go where they put you, and I learned that if I mimicked and spoke like them, I gained more attention. And although that's a sad reason to start a skill, I find that it helps me very much so in my adult life. But it also gave me the power of my voice, you know. And even when times got rough, like there were times where my own voice had got me into trouble, but then it was my voice that got me out. So that's really my best characteristic.
That's
I think
awesome.
is my ability to communicate.
I think so too. Like everything just flows out of you perfectly. Since the day one I met you at the outreach there, the pre-grand opening, I was like, wow, she speaks really great.
It's also helped me in this sort of thing too. Like when I come across people, because when I went to Rushford back in April, like it was my first time having to do rehab, my first introduction to rehab, and I wanted that help. I know that may not be the case for everybody, but like if you're presented the opportunity, I want people to give it a chance, only just because it did so much difference for me. So I went there wanting help, and then when I came across other people, you know, my ability to communicate and just like listen, I think allowed me to navigate that, because that's a lot of different personalities, any sort of rehab setting, a lot of different personalities, a lot of people that come from all walks of life, and no walk of life is better than anybody, because guess what, we all ended up in the same place.
That's right.
And if you can find it within yourself to want to try, that's all that it is. Like, that's where we find our common ground. I found myself in rehab saying, like, we're all the same. And some people would get upset because, you know, alcohol versus drugs. Like, it doesn't, I know that matters menially, but, like, ultimately, no, because we were all lost people. And we all, at one point, either somebody in our life wanted us to give salvation or we needed to get it ourselves.
That's what we were talking about right before, like, we were lost.
Tell us
a little bit about that. Like, how did you get lost, and how did Ashley find her way to where we are at today?
So I like I said, I grew up in foster care. I experienced a lot of abuse and neglect, and one of the things I was saying is, not that this is me making an excuse, because as an adult I do have to take accountability, and today I can do that a little bit more than I could before. But it hurts sometimes. It hurts to sit here and be like, you know, you really hurt yourself like that. Like, not, I know other people will hurt you, but like, you hurt you. Got to be better. You know, that's all. But, you know, I never grew up with encouragement, love, or kindness, and I never grew up with a sense of value, because the people who were supposed to tell me that I mattered didn't, because other things mattered to them. Drugs mattered more to my mom than I did. paperwork mattered more to my DCF social workers than I did. My grandmother hiding her shame mattered more to her than I did. My father avoiding child support mattered more to him than I did. And so
I can relate.
So I never had a reason to think that I was important. And that carries over into adulthood, because if you don't love yourself, I do think that that's the sort of thing other people can pick up on. And whether it be other people who are codependents or other people who are narcissists, it is easy to be attacked if you do not protect yourself. And I did it because I was never taught to. And that's not an excuse, but that just is what it is. So I lived a long time wanting to die, wishing I was better, wanting it, like all of these things, wanting anything else besides the existence that I had. And as I got older and my mental health started to develop and things with my mom didn't get better, and you know, like it just seemed like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Like I was attacked in foster care, I was abused sexually, I was never really cared for. I had nobody in my family that I could talk to because they all associated me with my mom, which means, you know, like, that's really sorry, I'm really sad for you, Ashley, but you know, that's how you know, like I was something else than your granddaughter. I was something else than your niece, or something else than your sister. You know,
just love me, right? Just love me.
You know, like just sometimes people need to give someone a chance so they can give it to themselves. Which hindsight, I have that now. So that's so great. So I'll get to that how I found it, because I was lost for a long time. And you know, I knew that drugs had affected my mother, but I never knew what she was addicted to. And I was shielded from the real impact of it. But for a long time, I was defensive over my mother. Like, that's my mom. Like, don't speak negatively about her. Like
that with my father.
Right. Like I was there to bat. And then I became of an age where they were like, I started to see how my mother's illness, and you know, before I could see it as an illness, I thought like, you just don't love me. And that's not, and that wasn't fair for me at the time to even say, because again, you can't give what you don't have. So of course my mother couldn't love me. She couldn't even love herself.
That's right.
How, you know, like that's not, but she was also an unprotected child. So this is, you know, and I think a lot of us go through the generational curse. And somebody has to break it, and it can be
breaking the
you.
cycle.
It can be you, right? It can be you, and whether it be within yourself or for your next generation. That's amazing.
Do something about it, right?
Do something, because the cycle of hurt and abuse has got to end, because it destroys lives. But as I got older and I started to piece together my mother, I started to feel sad for her, and then that turned into self-pity, which I wasn't helpful at all. Worrying and self-pity is a great thing to take up time, but it gets you nowhere.
Exactly.
You know, but all of those feelings of anxiety, and I was unmedicated, you know, like for my mental health, for anxiety or depression, because, you know, I thought that they were just trying to tell me that I was crazy, and I wasn't crazy. I was sad. I was so sad. But I didn't utilize my proper coping skills because I didn't trust any adults. Even the adults who came with good intentions to want to love me, it was too late. I was 16 and I was like, absolutely not. No one touched me, no one talked to me, no one.
You had that,
leave me alone.
That mindset of,
if you're not
hurt
my
people,
mom.
hurt people.
Right, exactly. I was jaded already before I even had a chance. So
let me interrupt you.
No.
What were the positives in your life that kind of kept you going?
So I will say, my last foster home, and she's one of the people who loved me, still does, who loved me before I could love myself. And I still have a relationship with her today. You know, like, honestly, she saw through.
You remember that love?
Oh, I do. I had so many foster homes, and she was the last one. She was the one who got me into band, which was the best thing ever.
Yeah, okay.
Right. You know, she had my foster brothers who I got to watch grow up. She wanted to be my mom, and when I told her that I couldn't love her like that, because I don't even know how to love a mother, she settled for foster mom. And that was a great relationship that we had, and even to this day, she is
a solution.
Right, but it was a solution on my terms, right? Like she gave me a choice when I never had one. You know, and I know even from afar, any time that there's
respect factor.
Right, and it was so refreshing to have a caring female figure in my life that saw me not as a burden, and as somebody that she wanted to care for. You know, so you know, I am grateful for DCF. You know, I was the reason why I got taken away, because I told on my mom. But all of her shenanigans, like staying up late and partying, and you know, she used to. There was a lot of ugly, you know, when when her drug deals would fall flat, and I would get abused for it, you know, and it started affecting my schoolwork.
You had to do what was good for you.
Right. So then my teachers were, you know, I was afraid that my teachers were gonna like tell that like you know, I went to my school psychologist at the time, and I was like, please just tell them like I'm not sleeping very well. But as a school psychologist, she's like, well, why aren't you sleeping? So I had to go into the whole thing. So you know, I saved myself indirectly that way, but I started a whole slew, right? Like one door closes, and as the other one opens, there's probably still some baggage in there you got to sift through. But honestly, my foster mom was the first great thing that ever happened in my life. She really was, and I mean, she's still in my life today. You know, but as I was going through my own self-discovery, I had learned the behaviors of withdrawing. I had learned the behaviors of isolation. And then I started to apply the feelings of shame and guilt, which are not helpful in any situation ever. And even in my talking to people today, like I'm not a recovery coach yet. I'm not, you know, right. Yeah. Like there are things that people are more qualified to say, but I do think that I have, and I will continue to speak on, do not apply shame and guilt to your past mistakes, only because if you did not know better, you would have not done better. You do what you do in the moment because you think in the moment it's right. And that, you know, like to hold the shame and guilt is unfair for yourself. You are judging yourself in a situation today that you were not in last year. There's no way. How could I? That's unfair. And I think that we are unfair to ourselves. So much more than we need to be. Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe sometimes we need to set our own personal boundaries to ourselves?
Right. So, and I think, I agree. We absolutely do. And a lot of that is, especially for any of us that have mental illness, it's like I deal with intrusive thoughts on a daily basis, and I know that anybody who's close to me knows when I'm having a mental fit, because it's all my same voice, but like they are opposite ends of the spectrum. I go from like bump it, just self-destruct, to being like, no, like you're trying so hard, versus like I really don't want to cry right now because that scares me, versus like I'm so angry and I'm so tired of trying, like all of these things, like, and I know that that's normal, but the mental health part of it is also part of the healing, because learning how to emotionally regulate myself, which I'm practicing, is I will say one of the gifts of sobriety, right? I haven't, like I said, I've only been sober for a little bit of time, but I've already seen and experienced some gifts of that, because when I was in my active addiction before with angel dust, you know, PCP, that in and of itself being a hallucinogen is never a good mix for any human ever. But then if you have mental illness, your brain chemicals are already whacked, and now you're introducing this toxic foreign substance. That was my, as mentioned before, my first psychosis. So then when I came out of the psych ward from that, I was like, okay, like we're not going to do the dust. But I didn't, at that point, I hadn't been introduced to NA or anything, and nobody told me the concept of people, places, and things. So I went back to my apartment, and although I was able to say like, no, I don't really want that, no thank you, because I seen already where that led me. One day somebody was like, well, try, oh, excuse me, my
that's
cell phone.
Okay.
Somebody was like, try this, and it was crack cocaine, and you know, that was a world of difference, but it was a whole other animal that was going to take me down. It took me down. And but I don't think I would have gone into rehab for dust. I think if I had stayed addicted to angel dust, I would have killed myself. I think, and not that I'm grateful that I switched my drug of choice to crack cocaine. I'm not saying that.
Trying to justify it.
What I'm saying is that switch of drug gave me the choice of rehab, because if I'd killed myself, there's no chance of recovery.
Not at all.
There's no chance of coming back from death. But having the need and the wherewithal to be like, I need help is what get right.
Yeah,
you know,
hardest part.
It is, but you know, having that drug is what, because I looked at it, I was like, this is unhealthy. I am sad, and I am scared, and I have burned all my bridges, and I have no hope. I was hopeless when I went to rehab, but I'm so happy that I did. I am, and I'm not even happy because I'm happy more. I know that I'm happy that I'm sober, but like there's so many people that I've been introduced to that I can talk to.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can use my gift of communication now.
Yeah.
And
like you said, only in a short amount of time. Wait to keep happening down the road, right?
You know, like I'm not. And it's not easy. Even before like I was telling you, even before I came here to sit down with you.
Yeah,
the devil
was
never
knocking.
rests. And I talk with Rosa is one of our friends. I talk with her often. You know, like the amount of years that your active addiction may have damaged you in your life, it might take that many years plus 5 more to correct it, right? So like like I said, I've been sober for 7 months. I was only in active addiction for 4 years, which I only say only, but like one day, like it doesn't take long for me to mess things up. So some people say 4 years. I've been addicted for 10. Okay, well, both are sad.
We don't compare
tragedies.
No.
We move forward and we realize that both days that we were unhealthy is a day too much. One day unhealthy is 2 days because we don't have that much time. They
say your worst day sober is 10 times better than your worst day using.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's what I'm saying.
Your best day. It's something along those lines.
Your worst day. It's because I gotta go. Oh, shoot. It's what is it like? Your worst day sober. No. Your worst day high is better than your first day sober.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sober. I mean, I would take it. But it's a daily thing. And now that I've gotten myself more emotionally regulated, I'm able to see triggers, right? So even when I had gotten that trigger right before you met, right before we met, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my higher power, and I was like, I recognize this. I know that this is a test, and I know. And the good thing for me is I'm pretty good at tests, you know. So I can see that now. But before, with low emotional intelligence, and no help with my mental illness, I would have been totally defeated. I would have canceled our interview. I would have been so consumed, and I would have allowed that sadness and anxiety to snap me back into a place that I have worked very hard to not come out of, you know?
It's continuous work.
Right.
And I know you're at Reality Outreach now with Lady Dean and Rosa and Pat. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Like how you got into it and how's it helping Ashley today?
Right, so Reality Outreach was really Rosa's mental seed that she's had since like 2011. So this is not the first go around of it, but I am grateful and blessed to be part of this harvest of it. And I the words that I use are recovery inspired, healing journey focused.
Gratitude.
Right, well, and it's a holistic approach. It's about providing options, right? Like, because love is not making choices for people. Love is not manipulation. Love is not a gentle nudge in the direction I think you should go. No. Love is providing information of what you know to be true and allowing somebody unjudgmentally to make their choice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's all that it is. And honestly,
that's a great description.
And that's what I see that's what Reality Outreach's goal, purpose, intention, mission is. Just providing people options, and whatever they may be, because we have been judged and we have been judging for way too long, and we are not going to come together as a group of veteran or current addicts and keep judging. Those days are done. That is the destruction.
We need unity.
Right.
Unity.
Well, and I remember being in Rushford, and I wish I could remember. Oh no, the name of the TED Talk was "Everything We Think We Know About Addiction Is Wrong," and it was like this amazing video on TED, and the ending statement was, "The opposite of addiction is connection."
That's right. Sure is.
And that was groundbreaking for me. Because that made so much sense, and again, not a justification.
Make something click a little bit.
It's not a justification for my unhealthy behaviors, but it was an understanding as to why it was easier for me to self-destruct and sabotage as opposed to cling to somebody for help. Because I wasn't taught connection.
That's right.
I was taught, you on your own, kid. You figure it out. And when I tried to figure it out to myself, it wasn't. It didn't fare well. But now that I know that I'm not alone, you know, and even if it just started there, and everybody is not going to be on the same page. I've come into people in the recovery community, and just because you abstain from absence, or just because you abstain from substance, doesn't mean your mentality's changed.
That's right.
I want to encourage people to change their mentality because the joy that they can feel and the transformation within themselves to really see the influence that they have.
Yeah.
We are self-actualizers, which means if you wake up and you say, damn, I'm sad today, you're gonna be sad.
That's right.
But if you wake up and you say, I'm gonna try my best to work through whatever obstacles there are, because there are obstacles. And I thought, that's what I said to you earlier, I thought when I got sober, everything would get easier. And I was like, damn, like now I gotta be sober.
Life on life's terms.
Bro, yes, and I never knew that that's what that meant until, oh gosh, life on life's terms, and I gotta stay sober. Okay, this is building me into a warrior I am made to play, because we are meant to finish. We're meant to finish this fight. And I think if we do it righteously, and by that I only mean by the right of yourself through the love, with the love of others. You know, like as long as you live righteously among your boundaries. That's what it is. It's having boundaries. You know, before I took that first hit, if I would have thought back to, I know your mom, like you, Ashley, you were born addicted to drugs. You just got out the psych ward from drugs. Your mom died of drugs. Like all of these things. Had I had boundaries, I may have been able to turn my head away, but I didn't have them. So that's my big ploy for today, or I guess every day until the next obstacle comes, is reinstating boundaries for myself.
Well, I want to thank you for taking your time. I know you got an appointment to
I
get
know,
to.
I'm so sorry. I know, we were talking for, but
talking
anytime, Joe, thank you.
So I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Would love to get a part 2, get a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely.
You know? Thank you for inspiring, encouraging. Throw us one positive affirmation for today to get us through the day.
I am strong. I am strong. And I am capable. I am capable.
Got that bracelet.
Yes!
You're amazing. You're capable of things.
Right, exactly. Absolutely, I am. For a long time, I didn't think I was. But today and every day after now.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. I'm glad you came out.
Yes, me too.
Take care, everybody. Stay blessed.